Hi everyone. Thank you for clicking on this video. I know it's a tough topic, but I just wanted to make this video in remembrance of the other baby we lost last year. Today would have been her due date and I'm feeling a little sentimental, so I wanted to make a video. It's been about a year since I made a video. Last one was also about a miscarriage. That baby we named it Rowan because we didn't know the gender. This baby was a girl. Her name was Audrey, and this is her little story with me. Last time I was pregnant, everybody knew. We were so excited, told everybody, and then at 8 weeks, I ended up losing that baby. So this time we decided to not tell anybody. We did tell my husband's parents and sister because we were living with them. And we told our daughter after the point of loss. And then everybody knew once I had the loss, unfortunately, but that's a whole other thing. So after the first miscarriage, I never got back on birth control because we just figured, go ahead and try again. We were told that it would be a different experience, and it was. It was a very different experience. So, found out I was pregnant. With Rowan, I had this in the entire time I was pregnant. I just had this overwhelming sense of something bad is going to happen. I just knew. I don't know why, but I just knew. And this time I didn't have that. And I found that reassuring. Everything was very calm, which was strange because I figured I would be full of anxiety. And I mean, there were still anxious moments, sure, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't, I didn't have that dread that something bad was going to happen. This time I was just, I felt calm. And a few days after I found out I was pregnant, I woke up one morning, I was just like, it's a girl. I know it's a girl, which is weird because even with my daughter, my first pregnancy, I didn't know till I was about 16 weeks along. And then I was like, I'm pretty sure it's a girl. But I still didn't know for sure until we knew. But this time I just was like, oh my gosh, it's a girl. I don't know why I know that, but it's a girl. And we did the peekaboo test to confirm it, and yeah, it was a girl. And it was just such an exciting time, you know? Just everything was going so well. My HCG was more than doubling as it should have been, which with Rowan, and unfortunately barely rose at all. Like, never came close to doubling. So, all those were just really reassuring signs that everything was going well. And my doctor obviously knew that I was having a bit of a hard time with the previous loss, so she told me to come in and she would do an ultrasound once a week starting at about 8 weeks. I ended up being closer to about 10 weeks pregnant, because the first one I had, I ended up being in the emergency room because I got food poisoning, which was terrible. But everything was okay. The baby looked good. And they were just like, you just have food poisoning. It's unfortunate, but here's some fluid. And yeah, they're just like, it shouldn't affect the baby. You're fine. And her heartbeat was good. So we went a couple weeks later. My sister and I went. She was about 6 months pregnant with my niece. But she came and recorded the ultrasound for me. And the baby was good. She was measuring just like she should have been. And her heartbeat was strong. And we were really excited. But then at the end, my doctor was just like, hey, everything overall looks okay. There's just some fluid that's close to her heart that I'm a little worried about. And she's like, I can't quite tell with my machine, so I want you to go to the hospital and get a better ultrasound in a couple days. And of course that worried me, you know? I was obviously worried, but I was like, you know, her machine is just not as good. Maybe everything is fine. Her heartbeat was good, so maybe she's wrong. Maybe she doesn't know. So a couple days later, we went to the hospital, and at that point, I knew. Like, I had this sense of dread that something was wrong. And so when we went in for the ultrasound, the lady, you know, at first she was really upbeat. And then as she started doing the ultrasound, she got quiet. And I was like, crap. And I asked how she was measuring. And she's like, oh, she's measuring this. And it was a bit smaller than the ultrasound that I'd had a couple days prior. So I knew at that moment. And then she said something about, oh, we're going to listen to the blood flow to your ovaries. And I knew then, because they always show you the heart, they always let you listen to the heartbeat first. And when I was like, are we going to hear the heartbeat? And she just got still. And I was like, is there a heartbeat? I know they can't really tell you anything, but I was like, is there a heartbeat? And she was like, I'm so sorry. I can't find a heartbeat. Of course, I just started crying and everything. It was just really, really rough to deal with. We ended up going home. I was supposed to see my doctor immediately after that. I called and I was like, I can't drive. I've got to go home. And they were understanding. With Rowan, I had already started bleeding. So they had tried to convince me to wait, but after about 2 weeks of that, I finally was like, please give me the D&C. And they did. And it went very smoothly. This time I was like, my body does not get the memo. I'm still sick. My body still thinks it's pregnant. Please do the D&C. So they got me scheduled a couple days later for a D&C. And it was a lot more rough of a procedure than the first one. I was in a lot of pain, went home, and then I ended up having to go back to the hospital, and they ended up admitting me because I guess they didn't get everything in the D&C. So I had to be put on medication to induce contractions. And going through that, when you know that you're not getting anything at the end, is miserable. It's honestly one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. But I ended up passing more products of conception, as they're called. And they were able to send more stuff for testing, which is what we wanted. We wanted to know, we wanted answers as to why this was happening. But she was perfect. She was a healthy baby. Everything, all of her genetic markers were fine, which made it harder in a way. But I also was happy to know that she was healthy. And yeah, and they confirmed she was a girl. So at that point, we had already named her. Her name was Audrey Isla Louise. And yeah, I got this necklace. It's all three of my babies. So I've got an A for my first one, my daughter Anastasia. I've got an R for Rowan, and then another A for Audrey. Oh, there it is. There we go. But yeah, so that is Audrey's very sad story. But this is her ultrasound. It's in a frame that says, I carried you for every second of your life, and I will love you for every second of mine. I do miss her every single day. You can see it's her little head, and it's her abdomen and her little feet. And that's unfortunately the fluid that they were concerned about. But I'm very glad that I have this, and I'm glad that I have a little video of her, and that's something I didn't get with Rowan because everything happened. So I thankfully do have some ultrasound pictures and everything. And we made Build-A-Bears with her heartbeat in it. And this is her bear. We told my daughter, Anastasia, that she was going to have a little sister with this onesie. So that was, yeah, that was her story, and we will be able to find out exactly what happened. We'll never be able to find out exactly what happened, unfortunately. We do think it might have to do with some of my illnesses, possibly my rheumatoid arthritis. We're hoping to get that under control, but we'll see if we end up having any more. We don't know yet. It's still a very big up in the air kind of thing, but that's for sure what we have to do is get my illnesses under control. So, anyways, I want to say thank you guys for watching this video. Tough topic, but we really appreciate it. And yeah, so that's Audrey's story. Thank you for listening, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.